Set Podcast, an old girls entertainment production where neoteric meets nostalgia. We're back this Monday on season 5 of the podcast, and if you've recently found us, oh my goodness gracious, welcome. We are so glad to have you. We're a podcast demystifying the idea of an overnight success while highlighting the array of diverse jobs within the entertainment industry, with a focus on women in the TV and film space. Today is what we like to call an OG episode. It's your old girls here with you today, your co-hosts, myself, Monique Schwaneman, and
Jessica Payne. And well, friends, we are feeling the burnout a-coming. And if we are, we know that someone out there, you all probably are feeling it too. Someone is, we can't be in it alone, right, Mo? Like someone's got to be feeling it.
No, we're not.
Yeah, at the time of this, of recording this, we're in the middle of the podcast season, obviously. We're also in the middle of our feature film credit crowdfunding campaign. Yep. And then in the middle of post-production for a short film web series episode. And the festival run of our short film. So, and we're in the middle of our careers. Or the end of the beginning of our careers. I don't know which one it is.
We're doing it. We're
making our way. And on top of that, the world feels ever depressing, frustrating, and awful. But just with, how things are going in the world, unfortunately. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that we can stop or give up.
That is right. Today we're going to chat about, it's just so gloomy, but we're going to get through this. Yeah. Because today we're going to chat about how we're surviving and getting through this burnout. Because while it's ideal to avoid it, it's not always avoidable, and to really take time to pause when we feel it coming on. And yeah, just the reality that we can't always stop feeling that way, and to take a break before, feeling that burn, or at least recognizing when you're in it. So let's work through this together, and hopefully you find it a little bit more uplifting. Hopefully this is a more uplifting part of your day, and that this episode at least gives you a moment to check in with yourself and to acknowledge where you're at and what you need to move forward. So let us do that. Check-in time. Jessica, you go first.
Check-in time.
I don't want to go first.
What am I saying with my check-in?
How are you feeling? Are you burning out?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Full stop. Full stop. Fucking full stop.
I'm just really fucking tired.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there's just like a lot going on.
Also got in at 2 a.m. from set, so also keep that in mind.
Yeah, and we had a 9 a.m. call with an interview before this, but also I'm idiotic with my sleep. Even if I stay up late, I tend to wake up still early. My body just will not let me sleep. And knowing we have a big day today, so I was anticipating the big day, and I just woke up even earlier than I thought. So I'm running on 5 hours of sleep. That's where I'm at. So I'm very tired. We have a lot going on. I also think emotionally a lot going on because we care so much about so many things, the podcast, especially our feature film. And there's just so much that's we're continuing and going. Yeah. And then the state of the world on top of that. I mean, I've been, trying to ignore it as much as possible, which is not always the healthiest thing or the best thing in the world. But
I don't think ignoring it for you is the right way, because you definitely don't ignore it. You're definitely aware of what's going on. You definitely
I just try not to doom scroll it.
Yeah. It's about letting it in fully, which we can talk about too. But yeah, I wouldn't say you're ignoring it at all.
Yeah, true. Yeah, not ignoring it, but I do listen to 1 or 2 videos on TikTok, and then I scroll the rest of them away because I just can't take in any more of the same stuff.
Because it's been an onslaught for a long time.
Yeah,
things that are just getting worse.
So let's check in with you. Where are you? What's happening in your neck of the woods?
I'm tired too.
All those also things tired.
Going on. I have 2 little babies at home.
No big deal.
And the state of the world like makes me want to cry all the time, especially, for anyone, but also having littles. It's like imagining people's families being ripped apart, people, being assaulted. And it's just, and especially little babies being treated that way too, or kids. It's awful. And then looking at your own little ones' little faces. And I have understood burnout work related, but it's kind of been rare that I've been so affected daily by personal or like world events in addition to that work burnout. And so I think that's what's making this particular time so hard.
Hold up, hold up, hold up. Jess and I are crowdfunding for our first feature.
That's right, our 1970s period piece about how my mom was denied a line of credit simply for being a woman.
And then writing a news-breaking article about it in her local paper before the Equal Credit Opportunity Act passes is coming to be.
Yep, and you can visit the link in our show notes or in our Instagram bio of Older Girls Entertainment to see how you can share and get involved and be a part of our Seed and Spark campaign.
So please go do that. And now we're back to our normally scheduled programming.
That's right. It's a good one.
Obviously, I grew up in theater. I have a very, I was a teacher's kid who like always did her homework assignments. I'm a sister of like someone with a disability. So like I knew always that people depended on me and that the show must go on. I always had this strong show must go on mentality, and that does really carry me through in life. But especially for those people that are like very career driven and very task oriented, the taking care of yourself part or the self check-ins parts, I feel like they rarely happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I think this episode is important, because we can't ignore the burnout. It's, we hear a lot. I feel like I've heard a lot in this industry, like avoid burnout, or it's, like steer clear of it, like take care of yourself so you don't burn out. And it's like sometimes burnout is unavoidable. Like sometimes there are periods of time in your life, like right now in Jessica and I's careers, where like, I don't see an end to our task list in like 2 years, maybe 2 years. I don't know. Like, I don't see an end. And so, which is beautiful too, because there's so much opportunity and so much to do. And it's beautiful that we have a clear vision and have a mission and have goals together. But it's also daunting to look down the pipeline and be like, we don't have any respite for a while. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I agree. With these bigger projects that we're taking on, there is so much that we have to do. And then obviously too, again, with like the state of the world, like that's not going to get any better anytime soon, or like there's not going to be a relief of it anytime soon. Like I mean, that's going to continue for all of time. There's always going to be something happening. The task list continues and the struggle continues. I think at this point, we can talk about maybe some strategy as to like how to get through it, because the thing is like, as much as I want to avoid burnout, sometimes the burnout, like I can feel it coming on, or I can feel like I'm tired, and there's just no time to, like, things still have to happen.
Correct.
I still have to meet deadlines. So, as much as I'm like, oh, I should take a break now, or, schedule, I don't know, some sort of something for yourself, like it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen right now. I don't know. I guess my biggest strategy, I would say, that's been helping me the most is the switch up. Meaning like, if you are, and I guess I should mainly talk more like my own example. We have this crowdfunding campaign, we have our podcast, I have my own like writing and directing stuff. We all like, we have our different little pockets of trying to move forward. And I'm just going to talk about career for right now, just because it's a little bit more manageable to speak about. Whenever I feel really overwhelmed with like the crowdfunding or with whatever, I will work on it. And then at some point, when I start to feel like the burnout, I have to switch brains and maybe then work on the podcast a little bit, because typically, and also the other thing, I guess like this is kind of like a strategy that I've always had with my own life as well, in terms of like categorizing my life a little bit with different like pillars of like what's keeping me up and keeping me together. Like you have your family, you have your friends as another pillar, you have your financials as another pillar, your career and another pillar. And then within those little pillars, you also have then, podcast versus writing, directing versus whatever, right? So you have all those little different things holding you up. And so while one may be struggling, if you can kind of switch up your brain and be like, okay, so this is really hard right now. I'm going to continue to work on it, but right now I need to concentrate and almost like find that thing that's coming a little bit easier or you're getting some wins out of, just to up your like
morale.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. That was the word. Up your morale a bit. That I think is really helpful. And that way you can kind of be like, okay, I may not be winning in XYZ. I know I'm winning in ABC though. So I've been in the trenches of XYZ. Let me switch over to ABC just to like lift myself up a little bit and then head back over to XYZ. And I also feel like with that, you can find some clarity, because while these pillars are all working together and are quote unquote separate, they're not separate. They are working together. So maybe you're having an issue with your career. If you go and talk to your friends and family or hang out, like they could be the ones that help you out next. You know what I mean? Like they could find a solution or, whatever it is. It's as much as I have like those categories of pillars, they're all working in tandem with one another.
Yeah, I think you said so many important things that I wanted to touch upon. And I think
I monologued there for a second.
No, I mean, I literally did the same. That's what happens when your mind is burning out. You're just like, this was my stream of consciousness, and this is authentic to the topic today. At least that's how I'm feeling. I think in multiple different businesses, not just this one, that pivoting and that switching to something else and then coming back to it is so helpful, whether it's writing, whether it's reading a script, whether it's working on a project, whether it's, whatever that project may be. And even if it's like handing it off to a team member, like I built this budget, I can't fucking look at these numbers anymore. Go take a look at it. And it's like you've written a paper and like you've misspelled your own name, but you've read it so many times that like you'll never see it. But like someone else will take 1 second to be like, the cover page, your title spelled wrong.
Yeah.
and so, but that happens. And definitely putting it down, getting a pair of fresh eyes is something we've heard across disciplines, which is totally helpful. And like you said, like knowing where your pillars are. And it's okay if one of those pillars, there are going to be I mean, I don't know that it's okay, but there are going to be times in your life where those pillars don't support you like you want them to, or don't support you like you feel like they should, or like they have in the past, because maybe that pillar is going through something.
Yep.
And it is important so that you don't feel alone, because that can make the burnout harder, is having those alternate places that you can go to for relief, to talk, whether that's, another friend, another family, a therapist, another outlet, a workout class, like something that can fulfill you as a human being, whether it's related to your craft or not. Because even if it isn't related to your craft, it's still going to fulfill you more, which is going to make you a better artist or a better industry worker, whatever that is, because it's going to make you, personally more whole, which is our next item, is scheduling and making time that's like for things that are rest or non-work related.
Yeah. I also just really want to emphasize this, making time for sleep. Like that's
God, yeah, we never do it. We literally never do it.
And it's so important to sleep, because literally when you sleep, you heal. Like your body heals, your body regenerates.
Yes.
And it just sounds really, what is it called? See, my brain is dead because I only got like 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Yes. We're
it sounds
right now.
Yeah, no, it sounds really contradictory. What is it called? That I'm telling you to get more sleep whenever I have not had.
Yeah, but I read some crazy statistic on Instagram, of course, that like if you like don't get enough sleep in one night, it takes women like a week to make that up. And I read it and I was like, what the actual fuck? Is this why I'm constantly
so I'm like years behind?
Yeah, like I'm literally a century behind. But I think it does take longer than we think it will, because personally, if I need to get something done, like I'll put the kids to sleep, I'll fall asleep for a few hours, I'll wake back up at midnight and like go for 3 hours and be like, I gotta send out
I know. I get those text messages and those emails.
I try and send things, but in terms of like replying to like Instagram stuff, they're just sent in the moment to just Jessica. I'm like, I just hope her phone's on silent at this point. If she's my friend,
I mean, it's usually on like vibrate, so it's fine.
Oh no!
I'll wake up to it and I'm like, oh, Mo
is awake at 4:43 this morning. Went back to sleep at 5 to 5:30.
Yeah, but that's what we're talking about. We're talking about scheduling time for rest and relaxation.
Like in the moment, I'll be like, I'm getting so much done. And then I'll feel it for 3 days.
It's your body, but it's, I think above all, especially with what we do, it's your mind. Your mind feels it. In just, not even just with how quickly you can remember words that you're trying to say on a podcast, but also like emotional regularity, right? Like something that, and also problem solving, right? Like something that may feel like a big deal in that moment when you've had 3 hours of sleep. If you had 8 hours of sleep, you could be like, oh, I can just respond with XYZ, or I can maybe suggest this thing. Versus
it's the clarity of the solution.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's like the biggest thing is you will function better if you actually, make time for sleep. And it's really, really important. And that's, I think that's the biggest thing. I think you can handle more whenever you make time for sleep, make time for rest and decompressing. So that way, when you do get to burnout time, like area, feeling the oncomings of burnout, hopefully it's not as like deep or crazy. So that way you can kind of
last as long as it did the last time, or it doesn't feel deep as it has in the past.
The biggest thing I think is like with this episode, especially of like, if you can't avoid burnout, hopefully you can bounce back from it really quickly. So yeah. And the only way you're going to do that and like be able to continue, performing at a high capacity is if you are making time for rest, relaxation, decompressing, and a life outside of whatever is getting you down or crazy or whatever.
Feels like, which sometimes feels impossible when like you have jobs and your career and there are a limited amount of funds. It's like not everyone can go out and get a massage every week or every month or, but if you can do those things, it is important to prioritize what you need. And if you can't, there are free things like, Jessica and I are so into the LA Public Library and there's an author that I got into last year. I'm like on her 4th book right now. And I've never been like an avid like reader for fun. And truly, like, there's no agenda with this. It's just for me. I could read 10 pages. I could read 5 pages. I could read 50 pages. And I didn't think I would feel so much better than I have. And so whatever that is for you, I understand, like, because I am a reality TV girly as well. Like, I do love me some Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. But that doesn't, I don't feel like I'm fulfilled from that. It's a break, it's a rest, but I'm the feeling of fulfillment after like reading this particular author, like this, like that it's just for me, no agenda, is totally a game changer with my mental health. And and it was free, and it was because I got it through the library.
So I agree. I also think that a couple different points. One, I actually usually read a lot. Or not a lot comparatively.
You read a lot.
I'll read a lot, right? And I found the last couple weeks, I could not concentrate on a book to save my life because every time I would sit down to read, I was constantly thinking of all the different things I had to do and like daydreaming in that sort of way. And I just couldn't disconnect from that and let my mind actually get into the book, unfortunately. So what I had to do was like And two, I think because my phone is like right there too, that I'm like, oh, I can take notes real quick and like write this down. Even if I'm not doing it, I can take the notes real quick and put it away. And I don't know. But
Yeah.
I found what I really needed was like getting out and going for a run or a walk or whatever, and like putting the phone away, like even just like not having, you know, stimulation from music or anything, like actually just forcing myself to like stop. So there's that. Sometimes you have to switch things up. What may work for you at one point, the reality TV or the reading or whatever, you need to actually switch up completely to do something else.
Yep.
The other thing is sometimes I feel like even if I can't do it in that moment, like even if I'm on a long day of set and, you know, I'm not going to be able to come home and read, like I'm going to just want to go right to sleep right away, I will try to. Sometimes what helps me is like having something to look forward to, which is just like scheduling that massage or scheduling, you know, wine night with your friends or scheduling whatever. You have something to like that you're like looking, forward to, that is, you know, making the plans and time with your friends or whatever to decompress. So even if you're not doing it in the moment, sometimes just making the plans is helpful enough in, you know, just to give yourself some sort of relief of like, oh, at this point, you know, on this Wednesday at 5 p.m., I'm going to be with my friends for an hour and I'm going to be present and be there and I can't wait for it. The other thing is putting down the damn phone that I kind of touched on already, is partly with like the doom scrolling of it all is part of it. But I think especially with, you know, Mo, you and our sort of situation of the emails and the text messages and the consistency and reaching out to different people and like all of that, you know, when you get a notification on your phone, like sometimes it really just needs to be in the other room so you can concentrate on something else. Because I will get so easily pulled away from another task when a notification comes in. It's been rough. Having to like
social media in general has been rough. It'll be like all these good moments and recipes and friend updates, and then it's like, oh, here's the war.
Yeah. Well, and then also here's the thing too that I will get is I'll get a notification, right, that maybe someone donated to our campaign, which is super exciting. Love it. And then I'm like, okay, how can I get more of this? Do you know what I mean? Or we get more Instagram followers. It's like, I get obsessed with like, how do I get more of that? Like more of that dopamine rush from like the phone, which is also unhealthy, is like, you know, like obsessing over it. And that's, you know, truly something that we are trying to do is, you know, reach out to people and get more of it. But at some point, like the obsession of it ends up the burnout, you know? So even if you are like getting, like, I'll send out like 10 emails in a day being like, hey, do you want to come on the podcast? Like, even if no one responds or whatever, or if one person responds, it's like, it worked. Okay, let me like do 10 more. You know what I mean? Like it's, and that part needs to chill a little bit. It's the obsession.
I guess it's having healthy boundaries, which I wouldn't know anything about, but it sounds like that's what that is.
Yeah, I guess that is something. Yeah. But it's, just sitting down. Yeah. Wow. But it is just like, putting down the damn phone, stop the doom scrolling, stop the mindless scrolling, like, and stop, you know, I don't know, stop the obsession. Just take a moment, put it away.
Yeah. It does help. It does
disconnect, as they say.
Sometimes I've even just like fully shut my phone off. But like, think about the last time you fully shut your phone off.
I did that to reset my phone one time, and I got scared that it wasn't going to.
You got scared. Something was going to happen. Yeah, I did it at home, like with the kids and my husband. So I was like, okay, everyone's here. We're all good.
My thing is, I was like, what if it doesn't turn back on, and I have to go find a Verizon store? I don't know where a Verizon store is near me.
We're so attached.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely turning it off if you have to for a few hours. Just remember to turn it back.
Trying to use like MapQuest to get to it.
Oh my God, MapQuest.
The other thing I would say, especially I would say with like the world, or even if you're an actor who's like auditioning all the time and not never, but like seemingly not getting your yeses, is sometimes like that waiting or that anticipation. I think the best way to kind of calm both the anxiety of it, because I think there is partly of it is anxiety, is taking action. So with the world, I always feel a lot better when, get all this doom scrolling, or I hear the world, and then you go to a protest or you call your representative, just something like, and it can be like one call a day, or one call that day if you're really feeling it. Like taking action, I feel like helps so much with that anxiety and that worry and everything. Like even if seemingly nothing comes of it, it's not really true. Like, you're doing something, because I think it's the powerlessness, that feeling of being powerless. And then same with like when you're an actor, you can do your auditions, but then what, And I think maybe taking the power of like going and writing or trying to produce something, or whatever it is, trying to take the power back to yourself. Sometimes that action is what's really, really helpful, I find.
And we've talked about this before on the podcast, that not
Yeah.
all action is going to be levied the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Levied, the right word. Not all action is going to
weigh the same.
And so if you're taking action of things that need to get done, that's fine. But if you're also burnt out, it's going to be hard to do 2 loads of laundry and all the dishes, and then you haven't done anything creative, or haven't done anything for yourself, or haven't sent that email. So maybe before you take that action, look at what's going to potentially give you the best feeling, or make you feel the most productive, or if it works out, is going to pay more, whether monetarily or not, what is going to pay out to you more. And then try and, as scary as it is, maybe try and tackle that thing first.
Yeah, I think too, it's not just like take action for action's sake. It's going to be, where are you feeling the burnout? If you're feeling burnout with acting because you've done all these auditions and you're not getting, some, whatever that you want from it, that's where you need to take action then, is like finding a different avenue, or an avenue to help you in that area or whatever. And getting creative to switch it up, right? Switch it up to help that area. You're getting burnout from like the state of the world, take action with state of the world. And that can be locally, that can be like nationally, whatever it is, right? Locally is probably ideal. But yeah, that's like the action you need to take. So it's not just like, I'm feeling burnt out from acting, let me go do a load of laundry. Like that's not necessarily like,
yes. But like, as silly as it sounds, that's how I used to operate, and that's how I still operate sometimes. So I'm also telling this to myself, because when your to-do list is so fucking long, you're just like, let me do something to feel like a human. But at the end of it, are you really going to feel like a human, or are you just going to feel more depleted?
Yeah.
Like, guess what? Yeah, that was on my to-do list for 2 years, Jessica? Updating my passport.
Oh, and then you did it.
Congrats. And I did it, and it took 10 minutes.
Yeah, it did.
Literally, actually, I think less than 10 minutes. It did cost money, but it took less than 10 minutes. And now I feel so good knowing that, at least for right now, I'm going to be able to vote once I get the passport in the mail.
Yeah.
My last name changed when I got married. So at least now, with whatever they're currently trying to pass, I'll still be able to vote, hopefully.
Yeah. Also, we just spoke with Katrina from Moonshot Initiative, and her grand takeaway of, at the very end of the day, what's the biggest advice you have for filmmakers or writers specifically? Yep. And she said, like, green light yourself and say yes to yourself. I think just huge advice. And I think that whatever it is that you're like burnout with, or feel like you're stuck, because I think at the end of the day, burnout is doing all the things, but then still feeling like you've not gone anywhere. Right.
Yeah.
And so at that point, you maybe switch it up, or you continue, I don't know, you green light yourself. You do, if you're gonna, I'm using the acting thing just because it's so easy to be able to use, of like, if you're an actor and you're doing all the things, you're taking the classes, you're hitting up your auditions, and you're still not getting the parts, again, maybe it's you create the parts for yourself. Maybe it is like you produce something, you green light yourself. Yeah, I also will say, I think that the reason why we love this podcast so much for us, beyond also like
Yeah.
y'all, but it's really like we created it to greenlight ourselves,
Yes.
basically, because we wanted something to keep us creatively in the industry, keep us talking to people, keep us excited. That was like a low barrier to entry and something to continue to do and work on for ourselves. And it also is helpful that it, goes out to others.
And
And
builds
so,
community. Yeah.
yeah. And so I don't know, we did it. And so I feel like that's why this podcast always feels so good, is because it's something that we can control, and we do it, and all we have to do is do the task and go. And if nothing else, Mo and I can sit and chat to you over an hour or whatever, even if we don't have a guest on. But
Yeah.
so finding creative ways to greenlight yourself, I guess
Yeah.
would be
When
a
like
good
when podcasts like started coming out and becoming more of a thing, I never thought that I would be like a podcast host or a podcast creator. And then, meeting Jessica and like hearing other podcasts in the industry, I'm just like, okay, there are podcasts about acting, there are podcasts about filmmakers or screenwriting or like specific niche things, but like, let's talk about all of it. Like, let's really learn all the aspects of the industry, because if we're well informed of everyone's job, we can treat each other with more respect. We can understand where people are coming from. We can have a better sense of what's going on set. What are the trends in the industry? How we can show up and help each other, how we can promote each other's work.
And
And
we can
it,
do our jobs better. I think the biggest thing
yes,
with this podcast that I love so much, and I said it, earlier too, was like the industry side, the business side makes no fucking sense to me. Like,
yeah.
I do not have a brain for business, for industry, but like the more I learn about it, the more I understand. I get the art side. Like that's the thing that I gravitated to. I was like, I know the creativity, I got that. But it's the industry side that's like, and the money side, and all of that sort of like the business aspect that I'm like, I don't understand. And that's where we're like learning the most in terms of like how all these pieces come together, and like all the like jigsaw puzzle slash like cogs in the wheel like actually come together and like and make this industry, because it is quote unquote an industry.
No, but it
Again,
is. And a lot of this has been about like that mental shift, or because with burnout, a lot of times can come, depression, anxiety, like those darker feelings. And so pivoting when you need to, recognizing your wins, shifting to something that does fulfill you, whether it's within your industry or not, all those things can help. A couple other things are, if your task list does seem daunting or not doable, like my task list could be like, if I wrote it out, it would probably be like 100 things. No joke. But Jessica and I also break things up into, okay, let's just look at this week. What's due this month? What's due this week? What is due today?
mhm,
And maybe if it's not due today, but what is our goal today? So
yeah,
even if our task list is 20 things long, I'm focusing on 2 things today, and 2 things seem manageable.
yeah,
And guess what? If you focus on 1 or 2 things a day, at the end of the week, you will have done 7 to 14 things, which is
yeah.
incredible.
And also I think breaking up a task into different steps as well is helpful.
Mhm.
One, because depending on how small the steps are, you probably will get more than one of those done once you get started. But then
Yeah.
the other thing is, if you start working, I'm thinking this is what I'm thinking about right now, is we've filmed a couple podcast shows. So, and I do the full edit on those. And thinking about that task is a lot, because there's a bunch of different components, right, that we have to do for it. But if I think about it of like, and I it's just very daunting. But if I think about it of, I just need to go in and, set the timeline up, get the components into the program, and that's task 1. Task 2 is going to be going through and taking out all the crazy ahs, whatever. Task 3 is then making it look good on the picture. Task 4 is then, adding your intros and outros and your little like ad spots or whatever. And the music. And then, then you have your exporting, and then you're uploading and all the things, right? So those are the different tasks. But if I am just like, I have to do this whole thing that's going to take me 5 hours to do, it's a lot to like try to burden yourself with, right? Like, again, too, even if you think about it with writing, of like, I need to write an entire feature film. So if you're like, I need to write 90 pages, that's a lot. But if you say, I'm going to sit down for an hour and write, or I'm going to either devote this amount of time or get, at least 5 pages written, or this amount of like the project done, then it's a lot easier to manage. And two, maybe you surprise yourself and write 7. Maybe you get into a flow state and you go for 2 hours, whatever it is, to kind of mix up those tasks and or divide up those tasks into steps and celebrate when you've done 1 or 2.
Yes, and that celebration part is hard.
I guess maybe less of a celebration, more of like a gratitude or a pat on the back of being like, hey, I did something.
Yeah, celebrate as in like acknowledge it. Yeah, because you could do something that's been on your to-do list for 2 weeks and you'll be like, cool, I did it. And it's like, no, no one's going to cheer for you but yourself. Or if you have a partner like we do, Jessica or Monique, and be like, hey, I did this today. That's awesome. All right, so now we're going on to this task. But at least like it's good to say it out loud. And if that person doesn't understand the significance of it, they'll be like, okay. And you'll be like, yeah, I was on my to-do list for like a week, so I'm super proud of myself.
Yeah.
Good. At least saying it out loud like that, like it reassures yourself too. Like, no, I should be happy with myself. I also think, like we're at the end of quarter 1. We are in April. We are fully in April.
Yikes.
So we're in Q2. And so at this time, people talk about like spring cleaning and, and we're looking at our goals and like, we're a 4th done with the year. But I do think that clean out, whether it's like a mental clean out, a physical clean out, does help with overall well-being as well. Like
it's that check-in too.
Yes.
Like
yes.
what
It's
needs
what's
to
going to
get
make
done?
a difference in your life and,
right.
and a difference in your mental health and physical health. Yes.
Another thing is too, I think, again, we just with talking with Katrina, she did say we always are like, what are your dreams / what are you wanting to manifest at the end? And she did make a point to be like, well, I do know my dreams can always change. And I was like, yes. I mean, it feels like it feels obvious, but at the same time,
no one's ever said that.
No, because it's so true. That's the other check-in part, like, right? Is like while you're doing things, and like maybe the things themselves are like I don't want to fucking edit our podcast, but I love our podcast so much, right? And that's something that I have to do, that we have to do to do this and put it up and put it out.
Yeah,
it's worth it, right? But if you are looking around and you're like, and you're checking in, you're like, I actually don't like anything that I'm doing right now. Like there's no part of this that I'm like, I don't want this anymore. Sometimes that's fine. Yeah. That's a rough thing and tough thing to kind of like handle and take on. But doing that.
Changing it bit by bit, it's that acknowledgement. It's, and the way she said it too is like, I think it's being nice to yourself or giving yourself the grace to be like, hey, this was my goal and I didn't reach it, but I got here instead. And this is way better, or this is just as good, or this got my foot in the door, or this is helping progress forward. Like even
it's different than what I imagined, but I'm happy.
Yes. And, or I'm on the right path, or, I'm on the way to doing this thing that I didn't even know I loved or that I know I wanted to do.
Yeah. So that home reset, that physical spring cleaning, again, I just thinking back to that metaphor of like, oh, I need to, I don't know, clean the comforter or something. And then you realize you hate the comforter. Like, then you need to get a new comforter. I don't know, or make it different, or like repurpose it or whatever, it seems like a silly
I think the point of it
analogy, but
could be too, like if something is on your to-do list for so long and it's causing you anxiety, maybe the problem isn't you, maybe it's the task.
Yeah.
Maybe like relooking at the task, like, do I need to do it this exact way? Can I do it? Can I make it fun? Can I put on music and dance around as I do it? Can I get someone else involved?
And honestly, looking at it too, like with your career itself, like again, I mean, we always preach like there are wrong ways to do the industry. There's not a right way to do the industry, right? And
Right.
and make your career typically for most jobs in here. So it could be that the task itself needs to get done, or you do, want to, the task will help you get to wherever you're trying to go. It does need to get done. Like you said, it's reframing what the task is, or figuring out, like, getting creative with it. Like you said, making it more enjoyable. We have to network. We enjoy the podcast. So we network through the podcast. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
like, and I'm using that example because I mean, it's just so obvious. Like for us, like that's how we got creative with our, like, I hate talking to people. Like, not hate talking to
But
people
you
in
love
general.
talking to people through the podcast. So it's like,
Right.
how
Cause it's
do
like
we
an
fulfill
acceptable
this
format.
need? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But meaning like when we go to, I think the other thing, right, is when we go to networking events, they're so awkward. They're awful. I mean, sometimes you get that magical moment, or sometimes they're really fun. But most of the time, especially like when you are first jumping in, it's like when you first jump into the water, it's freezing cold, right? Like, and then you
Yeah, it's that initial shock.
understand it a bit more, right? But when we go in and we like talk about our podcast or whatever, or we have this great connection, and then we're like, okay, we need to
Fired up.
like, right. And we're like, we need to continue to connect with them. Should we ask for a coffee, or should we go on ask them to come on the podcast? Because we actually want to learn so much about them. And yeah, so it's just been a really fun way to help in that task of networking and meeting people and all of that, because we really do learn quite a lot about different people. But yeah, basically it's
Absolutely.
that spoonful of sugar, right? Helping the medicine
Helps the
go
medicine
down.
go down.
Yeah. So
Wise
Mary Poppins
woman,
had it
Mary
right.
Poppins.
Yeah. And then of course too, I think we've said it before, but acknowledge how much you've done and be fucking proud of yourself.
Because you're doing
Because,
it.
well, and like no task, even if it's a small task, it's still a task that's been done. It's still something that you did. And we've said it so many times too, where it's like, I think it's just because you can compare yourselves to other people of like, I don't have my HBO show yet. I'm not the star of whatever. I don't have my Oscar. Like these massive dreams that probably get you into the industry. But it's the small things that add up to it, that it's like, I'm one step closer, or I'm still doing what I want to be doing. I am acting in that audition. I am writing that scene that, may help me in the future. I am doing the thing.
Also, people in this craft are some of the hardest working people I've ever met, because you're
Yeah.
maintaining your life and your finances and your families or yourself, and juggling all, like, surviving,
Yeah.
having a job or multiple jobs, and also feeding your passion. Like, not everyone does that. You
No.
chose this, you're going for it, and yeah, it's gonna come with some down moments, but it's really important to note that, like, your mom was right. You are special, honey. Like,
Yeah.
you are special.
Yeah.
You caught the bug, you're running with it, you're staying true to yourself. You're important. The stuff you're making is important and will be important, and speak kindly to yourself, because at the end of the day, you got to live with the world that you create, and the whatever you feel yourself in your mind and your soul, you got to deal with that. And
Yeah. Your
but you
world is what you put into it. Right? I
yeah,
mean, there's the outside world, right? Like there's the things the uncontrollables, right? But what you
yes.
can control, which of course this is not necessarily like the I don't know, the end all be all, because there are definitely things that are out of our circumstances that
Yeah.
happen to people. But in terms of talking about with like burnout and your mental capacity and your mental ability and happiness, yeah, you are what you, like, your world is what you put into it. So like you said, speak kindly to yourself and
And even if
practice
you don't
gratitude.
yeah, and even if you don't feel it, it's like power posing before an interview. It's like, even if you don't feel like 100% confident, just doing something physical like that
Mhm.
statistically shows that it helps you perform better.
Yeah.
Looking in the mirror and like being honest with yourself, like, I'm overwhelmed today, but I'm going to tackle today. Or
Yeah.
like, I'm going to get these 2 tasks done. Or just saying like, no matter what, I'm proud of myself. Or no matter what,
Also,
we're doing this.
yeah. Also, I will say the gratitude journal bullshit totally works.
Does it really?
Yes. Well, I mean, I will journal or I'll feel kind of down. And then I remember I'm living in LA. I
Yep.
am making a living doing, in the industry that I want to be making a living in. I'm
Yep.
working on my dreams. I'm not
Yep.
sacrificing, like, I'm sacrificing, parts of my life, but I'm not sacrificing myself as like an artist. I'm
Yep.
continuing to work towards, I'm not giving up. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, all of those things, and even if they're the smallest, I can afford to have coffee, like make my own coffee. I have my little Keurig machine. I have, you know what I mean? Like all of those little things of like, even if they're teeny tiny and small, or I can pick up a pen and write. I have
Yeah,
the both the brain
like,
capacity
acknowledging the
and the
privilege,
ability.
acknowledging all the
Right.
good things that, like, that you
Those,
have.
yes, those are just so, they really are important. And then you realize, like, I think because at the end of the day, it's like, if you're down, it's because you're thinking about all the things you can't control, you don't have, all the things to do that are crazy tasks. But if you are like, I did this, it's that, just the reframe. It's saying, look at all that I've
Kiki Palmer
done.
says, "I'm a fan of the reframe."
Fan of the reframe. Big fan. Because it
Big
is. You got to look at what you have and what you've done. And again, I think that it really does come down to comparing. Like, it's, we just had the Oscars and everything. And I was living it up, especially with the people that we interviewed. I was so happy when,
So excited.
Two
Yeah.
People Exchanging Saliva won. And I felt like, and then Jane Austen's period drama, I was like living vicariously through their, Instagram stories and everything.
Yeah.
And I think that it definitely could turn really quickly of like, well, I'm not there yet. But at the same time, we fucking interviewed them or we saw
Yeah.
that, like, we're in those spaces where, you just gotta
Yeah.
like reframe it of like, but we have a feature that we're trying to work on. Like, we aren't doing a short, we're doing a feature. You know what I mean? Like all of those things of like, you just can't compare, you can't look at. Like, I could have never made Two People Exchanging Saliva. I could have never made Jane Austen's period drama. Those are not my ideas or stories, right? They're specific and were made perfect because they made them, those people on their journey.
So speaking of that, speaking of our feature, we are in the midst well, I think by the time this comes out, we'll be towards the end of our crowdfunding campaign for credit. Woo
Yes.
woo! Which is linked below. This story is so important. And I think in this time when we do feel burnout, I do feel lucky that this feature is aligned with our activism and
Yeah.
aligned with, I mean, it's about equality. It's about financial equality. That's what it's about. It's about the Equal Credit Opportunity Act and the significance of it passing. It's based on true story. It's based on the life that Jessica's mom's led and the experience that happened to her. And so it's so important. And, following helps us unlock perks. But you know what? Contributing. I mean, at the end of the day, are we raising money? We're asking for money.
Yeah.
Yes, but also it's tax deductible for you because we're partnered with a nonprofit. AWD, the Alliance of Women Directors. Oh my gosh, and we have so many amazing perks. We have so many amazing perks when you contribute, when you donate. You pick the amount you want to donate, and then
And
we give you all this things
honestly,
in return.
listen, we're trying to raise 20K, which is a lot, and we honestly need more, right? But the thing is that people see or hear 20K and they're like, I don't have 20K. I'm like, we're not asking you to donate all of it. But unless you have it and you want to, then please.
Yeah, we already have we've
Our
had
hands are
like,
open.
yeah, we've
But
had 30
we
people
literally,
contribute already,
right.
and
And we have a $5 incentive. That's not just there for shits and gigs. Like, that's if you can donate $5 and you
it
want
all
that
helps.
incentive,
Yeah,
$5 helps. It really does. Like, if 100 people donate $5, that's $500.
crazy. We just did math on the spot on the podcast.
I know.
That was crazy.
With 5 hours of sleep, mind you.
What? We're getting better. We're getting better at this stuff. But thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We hope that you keep coming back. This was an OG episode, but most of our episodes, especially this season, have been guest episodes, and we love that because next up we have a costume designer and coordinator. We also have a VO, voiceover artist, who is a series regular. We're just gonna leave that a secret because you need to watch it. It's coming out. We have so many other good guests coming out this season too. We truly, truly love this podcast. We're in season 5. We're number 2 on FeedSpot's top women in film podcasts.
I know.
Again,
we're looking for that number 1 spot though. So, share the podcast.
Number 1, rate and review this podcast in addition to contributing to
share, subscribe, do the things.
Share, subscribe, do the things, send, rate 5 stars, email us about who you want to hear from. Is there an industry, do you want a food decorator to come on and talk about what they do? Let us know your niche things that you want on the pod, and we'll work to make it happen.
Amen.
Amen, sister friend.
Yeah. Stay positive. Do your darndest. I know it's hard, but try to stay positive. You're doing great. Literally just keep going. One foot in front of the other. That's all it takes. Literally 1 foot in front of the other. So, keep going. You got this. Thanks so much for listening to the Get Set podcast.
We're so happy you're here.
Go get set.
Go get set.
Oh.
The Get Set podcast is created, edited, and produced by Jessica Payne and Renee Schwaneman of Old Girls Entertainment. Original music composed by the incredibly talented Kyle Hall. You can follow him on his social media at Kyle Hall Music. If you vibed with this episode and our mission of bringing to light different career paths within the industry, especially for women, subscribe, leave a review, and share us with a friend. Thanks, friend.